But we must never forget that no government schemes are going to perfect man. We know that living in this world means dealing with what philosophers would call the phenomenology of evil, or as theologians would put it, the doctrine of sin. There is sin and evil in the world, and we're enjoined by Scripture and the Lord Jesus to oppose it with all our might.
Coming to you from the epicenter of the Constitution ablaze, this is the America Held Hostage podcast, America's economy on life support. Now here's your host, Jon Hinton.
Welcome to the latest installment of the America Held Hostage podcast. I'm your host, Jon Hinton. Glad to be with you again as we look at the world through a constitutional, conservative, and Christian worldview. Check us out at gatekeepersonline.com. That's the GK Podcast Hub. You can find podcasts from our founder, Jeff Dornick, Dr. Mike Spalding, Pastor Sam Jones, Schumann, Dustin Faulkner, and others. You can also check out our plugged-in membership for only $10 a month or $100 a year. And if you use the promo code JON, J-O-N, at checkout, you can save up to 30%. Just throwing that in there. But if you can check that out and you're interested, the plugged-in side will give you access to our social injustice book and also speeches and podcast from our Destroy Social Justice conference that happened last fall at the Iowa Event Center. Also, you can pre-order the book by Sam Jones, 5 Steps to Kill a Nation, and How We Can Make America Right Again. Well, with that in mind, we're going to bring on our latest contributor to the AHH podcast. It's my good friend, Mario Izzo. Just wanted to let you know a little bit about him. He is an independent business owner in Las Vegas. For all your photography or videography needs, he's one of the best in the country. And I don't say that because he's my friend. It's because I've compared him to other people. He does great work. You can check him out at izzopro.com. You can also find him on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Izzo Pro, I-Z-Z-O-P-R-O. And you can also check out his podcast. He's got a podcast with his wife, Danny, talking about marriage and relationships called Inside Izzo. You can see that on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And let me bring on Mario. Mario, glad to have you with us on the America Held Hostage podcast. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. I really appreciate it. It's a great opportunity, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for making the time. So for our listeners here on the Monday podcast, this is going to be a rundown first of stories that broke over the weekend. The first story in the stack of stuff is it comes to me from my buddies at Discern News. Nearly 500 California pastors say they're reopening on May 31st, regardless of the lockdown, saying, quote, "We're not asking for permission anymore." And I say, to that, I have this to play.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
So, your thoughts on that?
John, I'm sorry. I don't got any cowbell, but I do have a tambourine, brother. Will that work?
Yes. There we go. A little praise from the Amen choir over there. Yeah. Well, the thing is my biggest frustration is that there have been a lot of pastors that have been cowering in upper rooms and have not been leading boldly. And it's about time that they start taking their country back because ultimately, if you believe that you serve a God that created the world out of nothing and he's the Almighty, then you shouldn't be afraid of something that came from some bat guano.
Man, you nailed it. Amen to that, brother. That is just, it doesn't get any more 100% than that. You nailed that one.
Now, I want to talk about this too. I see a tweet here that said 60, and Governor Andrew Cuomo talked about this yesterday. He was shocked. Shocked, I tell you. That's a direct quote. 66% of new cases in New York City of COVID-19 came from people who are sheltering at home. Your thoughts on that? Because I think that was just, I think that if you would have followed the data, you would have known that was the case.
So this is interesting. So they say it comes from people who are sheltered at home. But what I can say about that, I obviously don't know that statistic, and I don't know what the truth is behind that. But what I can gather from that is the fact that when you stay home, right, you're not out in the public, you're not out, swapping germs, I guess you could call it, with everybody else, and your immune system drops. See, if anyone actually does research on your immune system, they understand that we're based off of viruses. We have like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of viruses built in us, and we thrive off viruses. It's how we evolve. It's the basis of our existence. So when you stay at home and you shelter yourself from all the bacteria, all the stuff, well, your immune system's going, we're good. Like, okay, let's back off. It's like in war, when things calm down, you pull the army back, right? Or you pull the military back. Same thing with your immune system. People just think because you can't see your immune system, they think that it's not true. But if there's a way to see your immune system, you would see it going lower and lower and lower. And that's what's happening. And then the people that are staying home, yeah, they're going to go out and shop. They're going to go buy food. They got to buy food, right? Well, they're still around people. And that's why they're getting sick, or that's why they're getting the flu. Is it coronavirus? Who knows, man? These numbers are so out of whack. Who knows what it really is? But the point is, you shelter us, we get sick. Bottom line, you shelter us, we get sick. That's what I believe the problem is. It's backwards. It's totally backwards, man.
The thing is that not being out in public has diminished our immune capacity. And instead of building herd immunity, I firmly believe you're going to see a second wave that it was just as a second wave that comes out because we had more people that stayed at home. But the thing is that if we're finding out that it's, as we talked about earlier, it's less lethal and more contagious, well, I'm not afraid of that. But the thing is that you're going to find people that, oh, I didn't have it, but I have it now. Well, of course you have it now because it's not as big of a deal. If you're 70 and you're elderly and you're in a nursing home, then yes, you should fear for your life. Because if you're immunocompromised, you're above the age of 70, or you're in a nursing home, that's where 55 to 70% of all the COVID deaths in America have happened. And the thing is that keeping those people sheltered in place, in those places, what have we done? We've put those workers at risk, and we've turned those nursing homes into COVID concentration camps.
Yeah, that's exactly right. See, the thing is, if you're going to do that, so let's do that. Okay, let's keep everybody sheltered and create this, COVID concentration camp, you want to call it. But feed them the right food. Give them vitamin C, give them zinc, give them vegetables and fruit, real vegetables and fruit, not the frozen stuff you get at Albertsons and ShopRite and all. I'm talking the real stuff with the nutrition that you need. Get them multivitamins. Get them outside for a little bit of real vitamin D. You know what that does for you? Makes you happy like that. Go walk outside, let the sun hit you. You're going to go, ooh, I feel good. Instantly. We all do it. Why does everybody love the beach? Why are the beaches packed in the summer? Because we love the sun. We love a blue sky because the immediate impact it has on your mood and your overall well-being, your immune system it's just, words can't even explain how powerful it is. So that's the problem. It's like you can shelter the elderly and the sick, but give them what they need. Why don't they get vitamin C?
Well, why
that pill earlier? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. My biggest question in all of this has been, why can't we walk and chew gum at the same time? Why couldn't we have done this with a surgical scalpel rather than a wet blanket over the entire country? People like you and me who work out, have stronger immune systems, we could be working and we could keep people that are 60 and over and have that are people that are immunocompromised, people that are in nursing homes. You take the proper precautions to have them shelter in place so that this burns out into the summer, and then we're like, hey, July 4th, Independence Day, all the people that were in quarantine, it's time to celebrate freedom, baby. But we should have been called to act our generation, I think that this is an indictment not only on our government, but we as millennials should have pushed back and said, no, I'm not going to do this. I am old enough and responsible enough that I can make my own decisions, and I'm willing to take on the responsibility to carry a little bit more weight in this culture to make sure we get over this hump. Well, instead, you want to know the biggest majority of people that are wearing masks? It's people from our generation. I'm ashamed of these people. It's not the grandfathers and the grandmothers. It's not the great uncles, people that are 60 and over that are wearing masks, because they're like, oh, it's much ado about nothing. And the thing is, they're willing to take the risk. If I get it, I get it. And I think that we need to have that same mentality. For the life of me, guys, you should have your man card revoked if you are between the ages of 20 to 35 and you're wearing a flippin' mask when you're freaking driving. Come on, man.
Or a mask, or a sock, or a. Oh. Listen, man, but this is the thing, though, too, John. You're right. This is the thing. You got to be real about it too. It's actually very sad for us to even say that, because you know what it is. Those people that are doing that actually fear that they will get sick and possibly die if they don't do that. See, so that's the sad part, is that me and you are sort of making light out of it and being funny. But in reality, if you talk to these people, they'll say to you, you're crazy. And just as we believe, that's actually how they feel the same way about us. And that's where that manipulation comes into play. That's where that brainwashing,
right?
The government's done such a well job, and that's it. So again, like, for us to say that, revoke your man card, it's funny and it's like true, but at the same time, I feel bad for these people. But I feel bad for them because they really don't know any better.
No, they don't.
Now this is where I draw the line, though. But this is where I draw the line, though, is when they don't want to know better, when they choose not to know better. That's where I draw the line. That's where I just call pure stupidity. You're on a different level. Right.
What we've done is we won't build herd immunity, but we've built herd mentality.
Yeah. Oh,
and that,
well, that's so easy to do. It's so easy.
Now, why do I say that? It's because I can see the data that has come out from the University of Miami and Boston University and New York City Public Health and LA County Public Health and USC and Stanford. And now you're seeing that there's upwards of 40 to 60 different scientific studies of coronavirus antibodies. And we're finding out 1 out of every 5 people in New York City has already had the virus and has antibodies. What does that mean? That means that the lethality rate is far lower than we expected, and the contagious rate is far higher than we expected, but a lot of people are asymptomatic. They don't even know that they have it. So that by nature says, we can go back to work. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. But people don't know that data. It's one thing to be ignorant of it because you haven't learned it. But then when someone gives it to you and you choose to buy into the panic and fear porn, then you're part of the problem.
You know what else doesn't help? The fact, too, again, back to social media. It's these ginormous platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. But I'm out on Twitter. But I know for Facebook and YouTube, the censorship is out of control, and they're putting on there, what do they call it? There's a word they have for it, Snopes or fact checks, and it's like, well, here's the fact. They fact check everything. So this is the thing: when you got a platform that's as reputable as Facebook, fact checking a post, you're gonna go, oh god, Facebook has it. I gotta believe them. Facebook told me this is wrong. Oh, I believe it. Why would they believe me, a guy who does internet research and follows naturopathic doctors and practices his own studies on himself and his family and his friends and has great results? But why would they believe me? What's my word when Facebook has an actual fact check page? There's a fact check logo. Gotta believe that. So it's not only just the government feed them, it's the platforms, it's all that stuff. And again, you have a brain of your own. Everyone can research. We got brains of our own. We researched. We figured it out. Why can't everybody else? It's just going to take a little longer, maybe. I hope, I pray, but there's got to be some kind of silver lining here. There's got to be some kind of area where people are going to start to wake up and realize, I need to be a free thinker. I need to be me. Whatever happened to being me? Whatever happened to being independent? Because if I came to you and said, yo, do you consider yourself independent? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, then now you're going to tell me that you believe you should be wearing a mask and you should be hidden and you should be. So really, you're not independent. Sorry to break that news to you. You're really not independent because you're not a free thinker. But no, I'm independent. No, you're not. You're not independent by any means. So stop calling yourself independent. Stop believing that you're, your own person, because you're not. There's not a better feeling in the world than being you and expressing your emotions for the better, obviously. Expressing the good, the positive. Let's do it. Let's do the research. Let's compare. Let's do variable A, variable B, even variable C and D if you want. And let's do a little experiment in our own brains. And let's say, does this make sense? Let's just find an answer. That's logical. That's logical with proof, scientific data. Because we always go back to science, right? We're not going to talk about God and religion. We're going to talk about science. The science is proving that what me and you are saying is 100% true. Bottom line, go find the research.
Right,
it's
right.
your job.
And when you have people at Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, USC, some of the top research institutes in the country, and they are saying the data doesn't line up with what the Imperial College UK, what the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, and the funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, what Fauci and Birx are saying, who also have ties to the World Health Organization and the IHME. So we could get into that later, but the thing is that when the data from these organizations is going against what we're hearing from the Coronavirus Task Force and Fauci Birx, that should be troubling in and of itself, because these are people that have the same type of progressive mindset, and they are the ones that are disputing the people that are peddling this panic and fear porn. It's absolutely appalling. It should raise a red flag. But sadly, what's happening now, I was at a birthday party last week, and I talked to a neighbor of a friend of mine. And this neighbor, when I said, when the Amen Corner over here, my wife said, well, our governor has called us jackasses on Twitter and called us knuckleheads, and I'm tired of being treated like a petulant child. And, I'm responsible for myself. I can make my own decisions. And this guy, mid-40s, said, well, I don't have a problem with the governor calling us knuckleheads. Don't be a knucklehead. And I said, I have a problem with a guy calling me a jackass and a knucklehead. And then he says, when it comes to your concerns that you have about mental health and reopening the economy, frankly, we've heard your concerns and I could care less. That's a direct quote. And that shut that guy up, because I said, I have freedom and liberty. If you want to go with this, that's fine. But I had to push back on that. I'm like, I'm not a knucklehead. I'm not a jackass. And I take offense to my elected official calling me that, because I don't report to him. I vote him into office. He reports to me.
But where did that get misconstrued? When did that? It got misconstrued because we allowed it, and that's the sick part. I answer my own question. I say things like, like I don't know the answer, but I know the answer. It's because of us. You can point the finger right at ourselves and say we allowed this to happen, and that's bottom line. And that's why right now freedom of speech needs to be brutally abused right now for us. We need to brutally abuse freedom of speech, and like you said, don't do it in a violent way. Do it in a positive. I will not comply. Nope, won't do it. You want to inject me with a vaccine? Not going to do it. But if Bill across the street wants it, well, go ahead. It's his choice. I'm totally fine with that.
Dare I say it's an act of conscience.
Jesus, really? That sounds very difficult to understand. What does that actually mean?
Yeah. Now, the next story that I wanted to get to was I had seen this on Twitter. This was very interesting. A writer wrote in and said, I recall Hillary did her college thesis on the writings of Saul Alinsky. Well, Saul Alinsky died about 43 years ago, but his writings introduced those in political control, his writings influenced those in political control of our nation today. his book, Rules for Radicals. Anyone out there think that this stuff isn't happening in the U.S. today? I wanted to highlight this submission from Garrett Gear that I saw on Twitter. It was a letter to the editor. And I think that you're seeing this happen right now, play out in real time. He said there are 8 levels of control that Saul Alinsky wrote about when it comes to create a social state that must be obtained before you are able to create a social state. The first is most important, healthcare. Control healthcare, and you control the population. 2, poverty. Increase the poverty level as high as possible. Poor people are easier to control and will not fight back if you are providing everything for them to live. 3, debt. Increase the debt to an unsustainable level. That way you're able to increase taxes, and this will produce even more poverty. 4, gun control. Remove the ability to defend themselves from the government. That way you're able to create a police state. 5, welfare. Take control of every aspect of their lives, food, housing, and income. 6, education. Take control of what people read and listen to. Take control of what children learn in school. 7, remove the belief in the God of Christianity from the governments and the schools. 8, class welfare. Divide the people into the wealthy and the poor. This will cause more discontent, and it will be easier to take taxes from the wealthy to support the poor. Does any of this sound like what's happening in the United States? Alinsky merely simplified the father of the USSR, Vladimir Lenin, whose original scheme for world conquest by communism under Russian rule. Stalin described his converts as useful idiots. Useful idiots have destroyed every nation in which they have seized power and control, and it's presently happening here in the U.S. at an alarming rate. It's difficult to free fools from the chains they revere. I think that is exactly, sadly, what's happening right now, because you're calling, I don't think the left understands, you're calling Trump a fascist, but yet you want the fascists to take away all your guns. Do you understand how dumb that sounds? You're
Me and Danielle talk about this all the time.
Huh?
Yeah. Me and Danielle talk about that. You said it all the time.
So you don't understand, you're defeating your own argument when you say something like that. You don't understand that by keeping people at home and allowing them to pick up a welfare check or universal basic income, you're not helping them. What you're doing is actually hurting them. And why do I say that?
Yeah.
Because the next story from CBS News, there are warnings that the coronavirus pandemic may lead to 75,000 deaths from despair, from suicide, drug, and alcohol abuse. I can't even with that. I think we're going to see more people that are going to die from undiagnosed symptoms of that would have been found if you would have had a biopsy from cancer, if you would have found out that there was that you may have had a pain in your chest, you've got a blockage in your heart. You delay these things for 2, 3, 4 months. Well, then that stage 2 cancer becomes stage 3. And now you're going to have people that we talked about in a previous podcast. I'll share it with you. Studies have shown that for every uptick of 1% in unemployment, there's a 3% uptick in drug abuse, in spousal abuse, and in suicides. That's. I mean, we're heaping destruction on ourselves, Mario.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, you go back to alcohol, just a simple legal item, right? It's called spirits. See, a lot of people don't understand that it's called spirits for a reason. They call it spirits because if you do a lot of deep research and be open-minded, don't just shut off the fact that ghosts could be real and angels are real, or just be open-minded. See, that's the problem too. People aren't open-minded. But if you can be open-minded and do the research, you'll see when you drink alcohol, it opens the gates for evil spirits. And this is true. You go do the research on it. It's deep stuff. But so that's why when you drink alcohol, I mean, for me, drinking alcohol my whole life, when I did, I had more bad ever than I ever had good. There was always more bad. But I believe the older I've gotten and the more research I've done, it lets in these bad spirits. It's letting in this negative energy. So now you got Tucker Carlson, who interviewed your governor, and he asked him. He says, "Why are liquor stores deemed essential?" And Murphy stated verbatim. He stated, "We rely on a lot of input from recovery addiction coaches, and they cautioned us if we were to shut down liquor stores, we would have unattended mental health addiction consequences to pay." He said we would have unattended mental health addiction consequences to pay. An addiction coach is supposed to heal an alcoholic and get them off alcohol. So why would an addiction coach tell you that if you shut down liquor stores, you're going to have unattended mental health consequences to deal with? It's like a child with diabetes.
Self-medication.
Well, yeah. It's like you give a kid with diabetes is eating candy. Well, you got to take the candy away. It's diabetes. But no, he's going to throw a fit. Give him the candy. It's the same thing.
You're pacifying.
They're just dying. They're just dying. And then Tucker his response was, church and practicing your faith is not considered important to your mental health. On what scientific basis did anyone deem that sitting in church is more dangerous than going to a supermarket or a liquor store? And Murphy's answer was garbage. I mean, he went like totally on the left side. But bottom line, man, it's tax revenue. I mean, let's be real. Murphy says in that interview, he goes, "Oh, our tax revenue is through the roof." And then when Tucker says, "Is it tax revenue?" He goes, No, it's not tax revenue. Of course it's tax revenue. Of course, that's what it is. So, I mean, when you think about it, you're giving people, this is the recipe for disaster. You give people unlimited time now with access to pharmacies and alcohol. Come on, man. People who live in normal everyday life, who get their 2 weeks vacation, they can't even take a week's vacation without getting stupid and bored. People go on that week vacation and they get bored and they do dumb things. They drink too much or they get in trouble. So now you're giving them 2-3 months, complete vacation, access to alcohol, access to pharmacies, and you expect them to make conscious decisions and do the right thing. I mean, come on. This is insane. It's insanity. And I just want to hit a quick topic too, where we talk about adults all the time. We're always talking about the adults, as far as domestic violence and alcoholism and suicide. These are all choices. Let's just be real, John. I know that times are hard. I know sometimes a lot of people say, I'd just be better off killing myself. And these thoughts you go through people's heads, and I pray the best for them. I pray it never happens and they get better. But let's not talk about the adults for a second, John. Let's talk about something that no one's even talking about really at all. What about the kids? What about the children who go to school because school is actually home for them? What about the kids that go to school and can't wait to go to school and can't wait to get there early and stay late because once they get home, they know they got to deal with daddy and mommy or mommy and daddy or whoever it is, or grandpa, aunt, whoever's their caretaker, being an abusive alcoholic and abusing them and beating them. This stuff happens on a normal everyday, in normal everyday life. Now you tackle all this. What about the kids? Let's go into the ghetto. Let's go into the ghetto and see what all these poor young kids are going through. Let's see what they're really going through. Someone better be doing a documentary right now in the ghetto, filming all these kids that are being forced to do the dirtiest things you could ever imagine and the most sinful and evil things you ever imagine. It's happening as we speak right now. But no one's talking about that. Why don't we talk about the kids for a second? See, let's stop being selfish and worrying about us. See, and that's just another layer of the problem that, to me, I get so sick to my stomach because we have choice. We can choose. Children can't choose, brother.
They can't.
I mean, God, an 18-year-old kid can't even choose half the time, let alone a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, whatever it is. These poor children are going through a psychological state of just manipulation, and it's gonna affect a lot of kids, man, in their growing ages and in their growing years. It's a shame, man.
It is a shame because sadly, what we're already seeing an uptick now, initially in spousal abuse that's happening. I think after 3 weeks, the New York City had said that they had seen a 30% increase in domestic violence abuse claims.
John, how can you? I'm not to cut you off. How can your wife work all day you work all day. And let's say you're on the same schedule. That's a good situation. You both work 7 to 3. And you're both home from 3 to 12 and you do this, this is life. But now you're both home together all day. And you got access to alcohol and pharmacies. So I'm just backing up what you said. It's just like, how do you expect things not to go wrong? Do you think we're all just going to be happy and just get along all the time, especially when we're all, unsober and we're into our bottles and into our beverages? Like, come on, it's just not going to happen. There's going to be dirty, nasty things that are going to start to happen, and we're seeing it happen now. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
And you're gonna see there's now upticks in claims to or filings for divorce because people can't stand their spouse. The unintended social consequences that's going to come from this. And I would say one thing too, and I'm more cynical about this. People said, oh, you're going to see a lot of coronavirus babies after this. I said, you give us too much credit. No, what you're going to see is they kept the abortion mills open. There's going to be plenty more abortions that are going to be happening. Because do you think that people who don't want the responsibility before to take care of a child and that they've bought into the fear porn and panic, you think they want a kid now? You think that they can afford it now? No, they're going to pay the $300 and go to Planned Parenthood and have that baby sucked out limb by bloody limb. Because I can't afford this baby now. I don't have my job anymore, and my husband left me, so I've got to fend for myself. No, this isn't going to be a baby boom. No, it's going to be an abortion boom. And the thing is that says one other thing too. You know that something wicked is happening when you keep the weed stores open, you keep the liquor stores open, you keep the keep the keep the pharmacies open, you keep the abortion mills open, but you close the churches. You keep people from going to work. You close parks. You're talking about children. It breaks my heart when I'm walking or driving to work and I see these local parks. The swings out here in New Jersey, in my area, have yellow caution tape all around them. What are we doing, Mario? Kids can't even go and swing? Are you kidding me?
Insanity. Pure insanity. That's all I can say, man. It's just pure insanity.
It is. It is. I wanted to get to another article that I saw here. Your thoughts? Yeah. Reuters is this was tweeted out by Representative Thomas Massey from the 4th District of Kentucky. Reuters saying to keep COVID-19 patients at home, some states are now weighing house arrest technology. Well, I thought that the 4th Amendment said no searches or seizures without due process of law. You have to have a search warrant. So the thing is that by keeping you under house arrest, by tracking you with contact tracing on your phone, by having these drones we saw a video from Elizabeth, New Jersey, that they're using drones to keep you socially distanced. We saw a video from Huntington Beach, California last weekend of sheriffs in LA County patrolling the beaches, stay socially distanced. Well, isn't that unlawful search and seizure without due process of law? Isn't that a violation of your 4th Amendment rights, Mario?
Yeah, and the argument that I hear is that it's a pandemic. It's a global pandemic. So that's what they're basically. Well, from what I hear is that's what's washing away the whole Constitution and everything else. It's like it doesn't mean anything. We have a global pandemic, and we need to rid everyone of all the rights because, and that's the argument. That's the argument. But again, who is allowing it? We are. We're allowing it. When that kid got locked up on the beach in Jersey for sitting there all by himself, that should have awakened a mammoth of a movement. We should have been like, what? And there should have been something that happened, man. And that's why I said there's people out there that are gurus that know how to build and code and do all this internet stuff. Someone needs to build a new platform. And we got to get away from Facebook and got to get away from YouTube, and we got to create a new platform that's a fair platform that we can get on there and speak freely and not be censored and not be, it's just bottom line, man. I hate to say that, blame it on us.
No,
really
I'm with you. I think that one man that might be the person who could do that is the former co-founder of PayPal and now the CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk.
Ooh.
In a related story, now he went on a Twitter diatribe last week saying that America is embracing fascism and that we need to reopen America now. I say more cowbell. I could play the clip, but I'm not gonna. But at the same time, the U.S. Daily Mail reports Elon Musk has told California officials that they will move to Texas or your home state of Nevada effective immediately, and plans to sue the state of California after state officials in Fremont, California have told the company that they cannot reopen. Your thoughts on this as this broke when we were recording this Saturday afternoon?
My thoughts are the simple fact of people like Elon Musk. I mean, you got people like Joe Rogan. You got these, 5 million followers on his podcast. You got some really reputable people with huge, solid followers. These are the people that need to start like you said, stiffening the backs of America. These are the people that can do it, and it's going to take, like you said, the one or the two or the three who take action, like Elon, and he's going to come to Nevada and he's going to do his thing. He's going to make this world known. He'll be world universe famous when he does this. But the most important part is that he's going to start the movement. Someone's going to start the movement. It has to happen. Me and you and everyone else here in my whole town, it's not even enough. I mean, even everybody in Vegas is not enough people. We need the whole nation to come together. But the only way to do that is to have people with like you said earlier, scrotum, a sack, to actually take the move, to actually take the chance. Let's do it. I think I praise him, Elon. I praise him. I pray he does it, and I know he'll be successful, and I know it'll create a nice dent in this whole entire pandemic thing, and it's going to cause a lot of controversy. But guess what? It's going to open a lot of people's eyes when they go, wow, Tesla's doing that. Okay. And it's going to open eyes, and you're going to start seeing more research and more people starting to roll over and go, okay, I need to get back to work.
And let's be honest, Tesla, a lot of people who work for Tesla, they buy into climate change and, Mother Earth and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So they're hardcore lefties. Now, I've driven the car. Yeah. It's an absolute dream. It's an experience to drive it. So if it saves me green, I'll go green. That's how I see it. I'm not here to make Mother Earth great again. I'm here to save me some greenbacks. But when someone like that who leads a movement that talks about 2 years ago, we do this to save the earth, and that's why we're building Tesla, and then he comes out and he's sounding like a conservative, I think what you're going to start seeing now, I'm going to make a prediction, in the next 12 months, you're going to see that a lot of people that were divided, that are in the middle, because we're seeing a fracturing, that the hard right and the hard left, there's a cold civil war that's happening in America between the fringes. They will never be able to come together. But the thing is that there's people in the middle who they may subscribe to one side or the other, but when it comes down to basic principles and basic liberty, I firmly believe you keep this going for the next 3 to 6 months, they're going to have enough of it. And they're going to say, hey, you know what? I never would have agreed with you before, but we can agree to disagree. I want my dang liberty. I want my dang country back. I think that's what we're going to see. So those are my thoughts. Mario, your thoughts on Elon Musk, and then your closing commentary.
I believe that Elon Musk has a very, very strong following. Just like Joe Rogan. I mean, you could go down the line and name all these people of influence, right, who have millions of followers. I mean, hardcore followers. Some of these followers tell them they'll take a bullet for them. That's how much they love these people. So it's going to take someone like Elon Musk to actually make a move. I pray that he makes this move, because it's like you said, it takes one person to stiffen the backs of millions, and that's the truth. We need to see somebody take action. I know you were saying how the churches are, the one church in California has, I forget how many churches they have, but it's 2.5 million members in their church. Open them churches up. Who's going to stop 2.5 million people? Nobody. So Elon Musk, I commend you, brother. I pray that you do what you say you're going to do, because it's going to enlighten everybody. It's going to get us all fired up, and we're going to go, man, if he can do it, I can do it. And you're right. If he can do it, I can do it. But I also want to touch a little bit on being grateful, because in my time here in Vegas with my wife, we've been here for 6 years, and the 180 turn, I mean, I can't even describe how powerful and how monumental it really was, how it changed our lives from going from this state of mind where it was like, I'm living life. Man, I got my job. I don't need it. Have no time. I don't make enough money, blah, blah, to being like, you know what? Life's not all that bad. Waking up in the morning, like being grateful, I knew about it. But when you actually practice being grateful, and you truly, in your heart, in your spirit, wake up in the morning and tell yourself, man, I'm grateful to even open my eyes. I could have died last night in my sleep. Like, think about that. You know how many people die in their sleep? There's a lot of people that die in their sleep. So you could have been one of those people, but you woke up, your eyes are open. You got another fighting chance to get another 24 hours in and go crush the day. So with that being said, I had a really good analogy almost, and Brad Lee says it best. And he says, before you go to bed tonight, tell yourself what you're thankful for. Everything. You better cover everything, because what you forget to mention disappears tomorrow. And that right there, that opened my eyes, man. I'll tell you what, when I thought of that, I said, it made me realize what I am grateful for. And I'm talking about everything. Always stay right here. Once you lose this, once you lose your brain, once you lose your mindset, you're a goner, man. It doesn't matter how much vitamin C you take, how much zinc you take. Once this is corrupted, game over. Just tap out, And you got people who are going to say, oh, I'm already too far gone. Well, no, you just gave up. It's not that you're too far gone. No one's ever too far gone. There's people that are about to put a bullet through their brain, holding a gun to their temple, going, oh my gosh, should I do this? And they stop. And guess what? And they turn their whole life around. They're saved. They find God. And they practice a grateful life full of gratitude. You see what I'm saying? So that's my idea. Is if I can get a word out or an idea out, be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful. And the last thing is boost your immune system. They're reopening, guys, and I don't know if you realize, but Vegas reopened a week early. Why on earth would Vegas open a week early? Answer that question for me, John. You're probably thinking, oh, I'm not sure. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's because they don't want us to be prepared. Because if they prepare us too much for an opening, we go right into the trenches, boy. We're going out. I'm going to Applebee's, man. I can't wait to get that steak and this and that and whatever they offer, the blooming onion, whatever. But not thinking, when I go out into the trenches like that, I'm going to get sick. Because now where am I? I'm around a bunch of people. Even if it's only half occupancy, if it's only 50% occupancy, it doesn't matter. You're going to get sick. And now what? Now you go to the doctor, you get tested, and whether or not you got coronavirus, baby, guess what? You got coronavirus. That's it. And now what? Now you panic. You lose your mind. You lose everything. You're on a ventilator. You're on this and that. And it's game over. So that's my advice right now, guys, is be grateful, number one, by far. And number two, boost your immune systems. Lay off the frozen foods. Lay off the cakes. Lay off the this. Lay off all the garbage for now, guys. If you can't sacrifice the next month to lay off the bad stuff and put the good stuff in, then I pray for you. That's all I can say. But boost your immune system. So when we get out there, we can prove them wrong and say, no, there's no second spike. We're all healthy. What are you talking about? I got a little cough. I'm good. Versus having a detrimental cough, and now you go to the doctor, and you got coronavirus, brother. So that's my thing. Be grateful and boost your immune system now, right now, not in an hour, right now. Go get an orange, and go eat an orange. Get that vitamin C in your blood.
You know what?
I've
seen a great meme on Twitter. It said, "You don't need a new year to make a lifestyle change. All you need is a Monday." So Monday,
they're gonna say a mindset,
a mindset, and a Monday. But it's Saturday, so when people hear this, it's going to be Monday as we record this. But it's Monday. Make those changes. Choose that attitude of gratitude, as you're trying to describe it. an attitude of gratitude. You don't need happiness is fleeting, but joy is everlasting. Choose joy.
That's it.
What are the fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. The Apostle Paul said, "Against such things there is no law." Well, those are the things that we need. Not fear, not panic, not strife, not worry, not wondering, well, what will tomorrow bring? We're told we don't know what tomorrow brings. You choose this day whom you will serve.
Yeah,
I'm not going to bow to an idol of fear. I've not been given over to a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And that starts, I truly believe, with an eternal mindset, a mindset that we get back the ancient paths, the first things, the precepts that we've long forgotten. But the thing is that in a society that is chaotic, we forget that God's not a God of chaos. He's a God of order. And too often, A.W. Tozer said it best, too often not wanting to offend anyone, we end up reaching no one. So maybe there's been some people that have been offended by what I've said. I make no apologies about that. If you're offended by what I've said, you take it up with God. And if you don't believe that there's a God, then, I pray for you because you have more faith than me. Because those same type of people probably believe that there are little green men and that there's aliens and life on other planets, but you don't believe in an all-powerful God. That takes more faith than me. And that's the way I see it. And that's the way it should be.
So that's it. Thanks
to close up, Mario, just wanted to say, since you're in Vegas,
Viva Las Vegas!
So it's been great to have you on the podcast. Yeah, there he is. He's doing his little drum, his little tambourine. Oh, it was from the Amen Corner. We'll give you some applause right here. Yeah. Well, it was good to have you on, Mario, here on the America Held Hostage podcast as we close out. I just wanted to tell everyone you can find Mario on Twitter, Izzo Pro. You can also find him on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook as well. Also, check out IzzoPro.com and check out their podcast as well, Inside Izzo, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. You can find me on Twitter at jhinton_, and you can log on to the GK Podcast Network at gatekeepersonline.com. Like and subscribe to the podcast. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Google Play, and also Spotify, and wherever you partake in great podcast ear candy. For Mario Izzo, I'm Jon Hinton. This has been the America Held Hostage podcast on the GK Podcast Network. Until next time, that's the way it should be. Colossians 2:8.